It was December 11th, 1978. The air was crisp at JFK Airport. People rushed about, unaware of the drama about to unfold. A group of men, their faces hidden, prepared for a daring heist. Their target, the Lufthansa cargo terminal. Millions in cash and jewels were theirs for the taking. The Lufthansa Heist, as it became known, was audacious. It was the largest cash robbery on American soil at the time. The robbers, a motley crew linked to the Mafia, pulled off a seemingly impossible feat. Their success, however, would be short-lived. The heist became legendary, a story whispered in hushed tones. It exposed the dark underbelly of New York City, a world where loyalty was fleeting and betrayal was a constant threat. The Lufthansa heist wasn't just about stolen money, it was about the seductive allure of power, the corrosive nature of greed, and the brutal consequences of living outside the law. At the heart of this daring crime was a cast of characters straight out of a gangster film. These were not just any criminals, they were seasoned professionals, each with a unique role to play in the grand scheme. Their lives were a blend of danger, loyalty, and the constant pursuit of power and wealth. There was Jimmy the Gent Burke, a ruthless mobster known for his temper and his knack for making problems disappear. Burke was a man who commanded respect and fear in equal measure. His reputation was built on a foundation of calculated moves and a network of loyal associates who would do anything for him. He was the mastermind behind the operation, the one who saw an opportunity and assembled a team to seize it. Burke's vision was clear, and his ability to strategize and execute complex plans made him a formidable leader. He knew the ins and outs of the criminal underworld, and he used this knowledge to orchestrate one of the most audacious heists in history. Working alongside Burke was Henry Hill, a young hustler eager to prove himself. Hill was ambitious and driven, always looking for ways to climb the ranks within the mob. His street smarts and quick thinking made him an invaluable asset to Burke's crew. Hill had grown up idolizing the gangsters who frequented his neighborhood, and he saw the Lufthansa heist as his ticket to the big time. He dreamed of the day he would be recognized as a major player in the criminal world, and this heist was his chance to make that dream a reality. He was the inside man, providing crucial information about the airport's security and the movements of the valuable cargo. Hill's connections and his ability to gather intelligence were critical to the success of the operation. Without his insights, the heist would have been impossible to pull off. The crew also included Tommy DeSimone, a volatile and unpredictable enforcer. DeSimone was a force to be reckoned with, known for his explosive temper and his readiness to resort to violence at a moment's notice. His presence alone was enough to keep everyone on edge. DeSimone was known for his hair-trigger temper and his willingness to use violence to get what he wanted. He was a man who thrived on chaos and fear, and he used these to his advantage. His reputation for brutality ensured that no one dared to cross him. He was the muscle of the operation, ensuring that everyone involved stayed in line. DeSimone's role was to enforce discipline and maintain order within the crew. His intimidating presence was a constant reminder of the consequences of betrayal or failure. These men, bound by greed and ambition, were about to embark on a journey that would change their lives forever. They were driven by the promise of unimaginable wealth, but they were also aware of the risks involved. The heist required meticulous planning, precise execution, and unwavering loyalty from each member of the crew, plunging them into a world of unimaginable wealth and unspeakable violence. The aftermath of the heist would test their bonds and push them to their limits. As they navigated the treacherous waters of the criminal underworld, they would discover that the price of their ambition was higher than they ever imagined. The Lufthansa heist was not just a crime, it was a defining moment in their lives, one that would leave an indelible mark on each of them. The planning for the Lufthansa heist took place in the dimly lit back rooms of mob-run bars and social clubs. These were places where the air was thick with the scent of alcohol and the murmur of hushed conversations. It was in these shadowy corners that the seeds of one of the most audacious heists in history were sown. Cigarette smoke hung heavy in the air as Burke, Hill, and the others huddled together, whispering details of their audacious plan. The smoke seemed to swirl around them, creating an almost surreal atmosphere, as if the very air was conspiring with them. They spoke in low tones, their voices barely rising above a whisper, each word carefully chosen to avoid drawing unwanted attention. They studied blueprints of the airport, memorized security protocols, and timed every movement to the second. The blueprints were spread out on a table, illuminated by a single flickering light bulb. They pored over every detail, tracing routes with their fingers, calculating the exact timing needed to bypass security measures. It was a meticulous process, one that required patience and precision. The plan was intricate, relying on perfect timing and a healthy dose of luck. They knew that even the smallest mistake could unravel everything. They discussed contingencies, what-ifs, and backup plans, trying to account for every possible scenario. It was a dance of strategy and chance where every move had to be executed flawlessly. They would strike in the early morning hours when security was lax and the cargo terminal was at its most vulnerable. The early morning was chosen for its quiet, the time when the world was still asleep, and the guards were at their most complacent. It was a window of opportunity that they couldn't afford to miss. A decoy team would create a distraction while the main crew, armed and masked, would storm the Lufthansa vault. The decoy team had a crucial role, drawing attention away from the main operation. They would create chaos, a smokescreen that would allow the main crew to move in undetected. It was a high-risk maneuver, but one that was essential for the plan's success. Each member of the team was assigned a specific role, their movements carefully choreographed to ensure maximum efficiency. There was no room for improvisation. Every action was planned down to the last detail. The driver, the lookout, the safecracker, each had a part to play, and each knew that their performance could make or break the heist. They knew that any misstep, any deviation from the plan, could spell disaster. The risks were enormous, and the margin for error was razor thin. They were acutely aware that one wrong move could lead to their capture, or worse. It was a high-stakes game, and they were playing for keeps. The stakes were high, but so too was the potential reward. The Lufthansa vault was rumored to hold millions in cash and valuables, a prize that was too tempting to resist. They weighed the risks against the rewards, knowing that the potential payoff could change their lives forever. It was a gamble, but one they were willing to take. As the night of the heist approached, tension mounted. The air was thick with anticipation, each man feeling the weight of what was to come. They went over the plan again and again, each detail etched into their minds. The closer the moment came, the more palpable the tension became, a mix of fear and excitement that was almost electric. The men, fueled by a potent mix of fear and excitement, made their final preparations. They checked and rechecked their equipment, ensuring that everything was in place. Their hearts pounded in their chests, adrenaline coursing through their veins. It was a moment of calm before the storm, a final breath before plunging into the unknown. They were about to step into the unknown, risking their freedom and their lives for a shot at the ultimate score. It was a leap of faith, a step into the abyss with no guarantee of success. But for these men, the potential reward was worth the risk. They were ready to put everything on the line, to gamble their futures for a chance at a life-changing score. The stage was set, the players were ready, and the heist of a lifetime was about to begin. The heist itself was executed with surprising ease. Under the cover of darkness, the crew moved with precision and confidence, their every step meticulously planned. The night was still, almost eerily so, as if the world itself was holding its breath in anticipation of the chaos that was about to unfold. The crew, disguised and armed, stormed the Lufthansa cargo terminal, overwhelming the guards and making off with their prize. Their movements were swift and calculated, each member playing their part to perfection. The guards, caught off guard and outnumbered, had no chance against the well-coordinated assault. Millions of dollars in cash and jewels vanished into the night. The sheer volume of the loot was staggering, a testament to the audacity and ambition of the heist. It was a haul that would make headlines around the world, capturing the imagination of the public and the ire of law enforcement. The robbers, initially ecstatic with their success, celebrated their newfound wealth. In the dimly lit room, the clinking of champagne glasses echoed the sound of their triumph. They reveled in their victory, basking in the glow of their ill-gotten gains, each one dreaming of a future filled with luxury and excess. But their triumph was short-lived. Paranoia set in. The euphoria of the heist quickly gave way to suspicion and fear. Each member of the crew began to look over their shoulder, haunted by the possibility of betrayal. The bonds that had held them together during the heist began to fray under the weight of their collective anxiety. The FBI, with its reputation for relentless pursuit, launched a massive investigation. The agents, seasoned and determined, pored over every piece of evidence, leaving no stone unturned. They knew that time was of the essence, and they were prepared to use every resource at their disposal to bring the culprits to justice. Burke, fearing that his accomplices would talk, began eliminating loose ends. His paranoia reached a fever pitch, driving him to take drastic measures. He became a shadowy figure, always lurking in the background, ready to strike at the first sign of disloyalty. One by one, members of the crew started turning up dead. The once tight-knit group was now being torn apart by violence and mistrust. Each death was a grim reminder of the high stakes they were playing for, and the brutal lengths to which Burke was willing to go to protect himself. The streets of New York ran red with the blood of those connected to the heist. The city, already no stranger to violence, was gripped by a new wave of fear. The public watched in horror as the body count rose, each murder more gruesome than the last. Betrayal and murder became commonplace as the once unbreakable bonds of loyalty shattered under the weight of greed and fear. The crew, once united by their shared ambition, was now divided by suspicion and treachery. The heist that had promised so much had instead become a catalyst for their destruction. The Lufthansa Heist, initially a tale of audacious criminals outsmarting the system, had transformed into a cautionary tale of the corrupting power of money and the brutal reality of life in the Mafia. The headlines told a story of greed and betrayal, a stark contrast to the glamorous image of the heist that had captivated the public's imagination. The dream of a luxurious life funded by stolen millions quickly morphed into a nightmare of violence and paranoia. The crew's once bright future was now overshadowed by the constant threat of death. Each member was haunted by the choices they had made, and the realization that their actions had set them on a path of inevitable destruction. The Lufthansa Heist, once a symbol of the Mafia's power and reach, became a gruesome testament to its inherent self-destructive tendencies. The heist that had promised so much had instead become a grim reminder of the cost of ambition and the fragile nature of loyalty in the criminal underworld. The story of the Lufthansa Heist serves as a chilling reminder that in the world of organized crime, there are no winners, only survivors.